Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Chained Opinion, the show where we really dig deep into these complex topics.
Yeah,
Sometimes the news just throws so much at us, it's hard to know what to believe.
right.
And, you folks listening out there, you're curious. You want to know more.
Absolutely.
So today we're diving into something that really captured the public's imagination late last year.
Yeah, it was a weird one for
It
sure.
was those drone sightings over New Jersey.
Yeah, a lot of people were really freaked out.
I mean, understandably so, right? I mean, swarms of drones appearing at night near, President Trump's golf course and military bases.
Right. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a movie.
Exactly. So what do we actually know about what happened? I mean, there were so many rumors flying around.
Well, it all started in Morris County back in November.
Okay, so late last year.
Yeah, and at first it was just, a few reports here and there, people seeing some unusual drone activity, but then the reports started to multiply.
Multiply.
Things really started to escalate, and that's when the FBI got involved.
Oh, wow. So this was serious.
It was, and, the FBI getting involved just added to the whole mystery.
Of course, because now it's like, what are they not telling us?
Right, exactly. And all this was happening not long after President Trump's second inauguration.
Oh, wow. So the timing of this is really interesting.
Very interesting. The political climate was already pretty tense, and then you add this whole drone thing into the mix.
It's like a powder keg.
Exactly. It really amplified the sense of uncertainty and suspicion.
For sure. So for weeks, we were all left wondering what was going on. No one was giving us any straight answers.
It was frustrating, wasn't it?
Totally. And then finally today, January 28th, 2025, we got some kind of official explanation.
Yeah. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt finally addressed the issue in a press briefing.
So what did she say?
Well, her main point was that many of those drones were actually authorized by the FAA.
Oh, wow. So they were legal?
A lot of them were, yeah,
Oh,
which
cool.
is where things get even more interesting.
So now we've got this official narrative. Everything's fine. These drones were authorized. But then you have the public perception, which was, full-blown panic.
Yeah, it's almost like two parallel universes colliding.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
It's not just about drones in the sky, it's about how we react to the unknown and how easily fear can take hold when we don't have all the facts.
So true. And, the lack of clear communication early on from the authorities really didn't help.
Definitely, when people are left in the dark, they tend to fill in the blanks themselves, and sometimes those blanks get filled with some pretty wild ideas.
Yeah, and, drones already have this kind of creepy Big Brother vibe to them.
For sure, that whole surveillance aspect.
Exactly. So you can imagine how people's imaginations ran wild.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw everything from government conspiracies to alien invasions.
Shapeshifters.
Don't forget the shapeshifters. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
people were projecting all their anxieties about the world onto these mysterious objects in the sky.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How
Yeah.
this one incident became a lightning rod for so many different fears and anxieties.
It really is. And it speaks to something deeper about our relationship with technology, how we're both excited by its possibilities and terrified by its potential to be misused.
So true. It's like a double-edged sword.
Exactly. And it's something we're going to have to grapple with more and more as drones become increasingly commonplace.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning.
I think so too.
I mean, it was like the more we learned, the less we knew.
It really was. And, it's easy to dismiss those fears as, just paranoia. But I think it's important to remember that, we are talking about a technology that has the potential to be incredibly invasive.
Oh, absolutely.
Drones equipped with cameras and sensors, they can collect a lot of information about us without us even knowing it.
Right. It's like a whole new level of surveillance.
Exactly. And that's what I think was so unsettling about this whole incident in New Jersey. It really brought those concerns to the forefront.
For sure. I mean, before Leavitt came out with that statement today, social media was like a breeding ground for conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had everything from government surveillance programs to corporate espionage. Even people were talking about extraterrestrials.
Oh, yeah, the alien theory. That was a popular one.
It was. And then there was the shapeshifter theory.
Oh, my God, the shapeshifters. What was that all about?
I don't know. It's like people were so desperate for an explanation, they were willing to believe anything.
I guess when you're faced with something that seems so inexplicable, your mind just sort of goes to those fantastical places.
Right. It's like our brains trying to make sense of the chaos.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's not just about drones. It's about how we react to the unknown, how we try to make sense of things that scare us.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting because even though those drones were, officially authorized, I think the incident still exposed a lot of vulnerabilities in our system.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, for one thing, it showed how easily a lack of communication can create a climate of fear and
Oh,
distrust.
for sure. I mean, if the government had been more transparent from the beginning, maybe people wouldn't have been so quick to jump to conclusions.
Exactly. Instead, they were just left wondering what was going on, and that vacuum of information allowed all those rumors to spread.
And of course, you had President Trump weighing in,
Yeah.
criticizing the Biden administration for their lack of transparency.
Right, which, whether you agree with him or not, just added fuel to the
It
fire.
did. And, it's interesting because this whole drone thing, it really transcended political divides.
It did, didn't it?
You had people from all walks of life expressing concern, questioning the motives, wondering what it all meant.
It was a reminder that, even in our hyper-partisan world, there are still issues that can unite us in our anxieties.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. We all share the same sky.
That's a good point, and I think that's what makes this whole incident so important. It's not just about drones, it's about our relationship with technology as a whole.
It's like a cautionary tale.
Yeah, it's a reminder that technology can be a powerful tool, but it can also be used in ways that are harmful or intrusive.
And it's up to us to make sure that we're using it responsibly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to be having these conversations. We need to be setting boundaries. We need to be making sure that technology serves us and not the other way around.
Well said. And, we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to unpack about this whole drone incident and what it means for the future.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We've got drones delivering packages, inspecting bridges, monitoring traffic. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
And potential problems, too.
Right, exactly. So the question is, how do we harness the power of this technology while also safeguarding our privacy, our security, our freedom?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that we're going to have to answer together because the future is coming, whether we're ready for it or not.
I think so too. And, it's not just about finding the right answers. It's about asking the right questions, challenging assumptions, being willing to have those difficult conversations.
You're absolutely right. And, what this whole drone incident has shown us is that sometimes the most unsettling things are the things we don't understand.
True. And that's why it's so important to stay curious, to stay informed, to keep asking those questions.
Exactly, because in a world where technology is evolving faster than ever before, knowledge is power.
Couldn't agree more.
So where do we go from here? I mean, we've got these amazing technological advancements, but they come with a whole set of new challenges.
Right. It's like a balancing act. How do we reap the benefits of drone technology without sacrificing our privacy and our security?
Exactly. And it feels like this whole incident in New Jersey, it's really forced us to confront those questions head on.
I think so too. It's like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
We can't just ignore the potential downsides of this technology.
We can't bury our heads in the sand.
Exactly. We need to be proactive. We need to be thinking about the long-term implications of drones becoming more and more prevalent in our lives.
And it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the regulations, the laws,
Yeah.
the ethical frameworks that we need to put in place.
Right. We need to make sure that we're using this technology responsibly and that it's serving humanity, not the other way around.
Absolutely. And that's going to require a lot of open and honest conversations,
Yeah.
involving everyone from policymakers to tech experts to everyday citizens.
Definitely. This isn't just an issue for the tech industry. It's an issue that affects all of us.
We need to have a national conversation about drones. What are the acceptable uses?
Yeah.
What are the limits? How do we protect people's privacy?
And I think it's important to approach this with a sense of nuance,
Yeah.
Recognizing that drones can be used for both good and bad.
Like any technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about demonizing drones. It's about using them wisely and making sure that they're being used for the benefit of society as a whole.
Well said. And, I think this whole incident, it's really highlighted the importance of critical thinking, in this age of information overload.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're bombarded with information from all sides.
All the time.
So it's more important than ever to be able to discern fact from fiction. To think critically about the information that's being presented to us.
And to question everything.
Especially the things that we're told to believe.
Exactly, because the truth is often more complex than it appears.
And the quest for truth, it's not always a straight line.
It's more like a winding road.
With a lot of detours and dead ends.
But that's what makes it so interesting, right?
It does. And, even if we never find all the answers, with a process of searching for them, it's valuable in itself.
It is, because it forces us to think critically, to challenge our assumptions, to be open to new perspectives.
And that's what's so important with this show. We're not just trying to give you the answers.
We're trying to give you the tools to find the answers for yourself.
Exactly. We want you to be engaged. We want you to be curious. We want you to be skeptical.
Because that's how we get to the truth.
That's how we make sense of the world around us.
So keep those chains of thought connected, folks, and keep asking those tough questions.
And never stop learning.
Absolutely. And be sure to subscribe to Chained Opinion to stay up to date on all the latest deep dives. And remember, you can find us on all the major podcast platforms soon.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.